Hello everyone, welcome to a new chess video. In this video, we're going to look at a few chess problems, like the one we have right now on the board, and we're going to have some fun thinking things through. So let's get started with this problem without further delay. Notice that we have 3 pawns against 3 pawns. In this problem, it's as if the kings don't exist. We've placed them simply because in a chess game, you obviously have to have both kings, but we need to focus on these 3 pawns. Obviously, it looks very hard to break through. White seems to have a certain advantage, since they're the first to get close to promoting compared to black, who are much farther away, but it seems very difficult to actually promote a pawn without the help of the king. Here, I invite all of you to pause the video and think about the correct move. If anyone is able to find the solution, you can leave it in the comments. Now then, let's see how this can be won or if there's any possibility. First, let's figure out what happens if we push this pawn right away. Here, black has 2 options. The first would be to capture, and if we see that we capture, we can't get past this point anymore. All right, so this doesn't seem like the solution. If we push forward and they capture us, advancing here doesn't seem like the solution either, since they would simply capture you and then promote themselves. Okay, advancing here. And if they advance on us, that doesn't seem like the solution either, because after the exchanges or even pushing forward, we end up exactly the same. It's the same on the other side, right? If we push this one after the exchanges, we end up here and can't get through. So, those of you who said the correct pawn was the one in the middle, you're right. Even so, this is still very hard to win if you can't reason it out properly. Notice that here, black has several options. If they push one of the 2 pawns, you simply capture the other and promote. Same with this one, right? Oh, sorry, same with this one. Now, if they push this one, we capture this one. So they're forced to capture. Let's see what happens if they capture. For example, with this one here. Let's see if anyone knows how to continue. Leave it for me in the comments. All right, so what's the correct solution here? Well, look, one of the 2 pawns has a clear path. What happens now is that this pawn is the one getting in our way. Notice that we can't advance because it would be captured. So the one on the opposite side has to sacrifice itself. If the hero of the battle, we simply have to push it forward, forcing a capture, because otherwise we capture and promote. So we force the capture, and now we can advance and have a clear path. We'll always get there before our opponent, just watch. So, victory's guaranteed. So on the other side, it would be exactly the same. If now they capture on this side, they leave this file open, so the one who sacrifices is this one, and when they capture, we advance this pawn. Let me know in the comments how many of these puzzles you managed to solve. Let's move on to the next one. The second problem is a really fun case. Look, right here behind the king, it's a bit hard to see. We have a pawn, okay? The goal is to promote this pawn to win the game. Here we have several possible moves, but there's only one correct way to promote this pawn. So, you can pause the video whenever you want during this video, and let's solve the problem. Let's see how we should do it. Basically, here we need to go and support the pawn, and we have to keep in mind the principle of opposition. If you don't know what that is, we're gonna look at it right now. This king has to try to stop us from promoting this pawn. If they come this way, we're going to promote the pawn very easily, but the king can still try to resist by coming over here. Now we would have several moves available. This move here would seem like a very good choice. Why? Because now we're forcing the black king to move, and depending on where he goes, we'll adjust a bit to see what we do next. If the king leaves, then we can simply promote the pawn easily. But if the king tries to defend from here, let's see what we have to do. If the king comes here, remember the principle of opposition. We place ourselves in front of the king, and we've already won because now when he goes this way, we come in with our king. And if he goes this way, we come in from here, right? So he leaves, we come in, and now we bring in the pawn, right? Easy. But what happens if now the king, instead of coming here, goes here? How can we do it? Because if we do this, he has the opposition. We don't like that. What we have to do is, if he comes here, we go down, and now he can't come back. So we've already promoted the pawn. I don't know if you solved this puzzle, but this one was a bit easier. Let's make it a bit more complicated. This problem is one of my favorites, and if you don't know it, pay close attention because you're gonna be amazed. If you like chess, you'll be blown away by what you can see in this endgame. Look, this black pawn promotes here, so this king is never gonna catch it. Look, it's impossible for this king to catch this pawn, right? So now this is here and this is here, right? All right. And the black king is 2 steps away from taking our pawn, and we're way too far to defend it. So we can't defend it and we can't capture it either. How would you feel if I told you that we can actually do both? There's something very important you need to know before solving this. Of course, you can always pause the video, but I'm going to share a little secret with you. In chess, you move just as fast in a straight line as you do diagonally. What do I mean by that? Well, look, how many squares does this king have to move to get here? Let's see, in a straight line, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moves. And diagonally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moves. So moving diagonally is actually a perfectly valid option. With that hint, I'm going to show you that the correct move is this one right here. And you might say, well, even if you come here and go diagonally, the pawn gets away, right? Or the king captures your pawn. Let's start by seeing what happens if the pawn tries to escape. So, what do we need to do? Boom, we follow it. But at the same time, we keep our sights set right here. What happens then? If the king comes to capture this pawn, we've already trapped his pawn. If he takes, we take, and we get a draw. So the king, so what they have to try is to keep advancing. What happens now is that since they've advanced, we change our objective and come to defend our pawn. Notice that now he's 2 steps away from queening, and so are we. So now, if they try to promote, we'll promote as well. And an endgame with king and queen versus king and queen, as long as you don't blunder anything important, is a very clear draw. And if they try to come and defend this pawn, we're still in plenty of time to defend it ourselves and promote on the very next move. Look. So this truly impressive position right here is a guaranteed draw for white if it is played absolutely correctly. So what was the solution? To come in diagonally, because that way I defend this one and also capture this one here. I come here, if the king comes this way, I go here, if they take this one, we've reached this position. So this position is a draw. Amazing, isn't it? If you didn't know it, especially leave a like, because I truly have a great time here teaching you all of this and sharing such a wonderful and amazing time with every single one of you. We dedicated a video on the channel to this problem you see here. Those of you who have seen it, try to remember and see if you recall it. And for those who haven't, enjoy this problem because it's magnificent. This problem was given to Russian children to see if they were geniuses or not. So here, what's the goal with this queen? To capture all the pawns without letting any of them promote. So it seems pretty simple, since a queen is more powerful than 4 pawns, but these 4 pawns are very close to promotion, and it looks quite tricky. So as always, you can pause the video. Above all, later let me know how many problems you were able to solve. Be honest with me. If you couldn't solve any, then none. If you solved one, then one. You can tell me whatever you want, I'll read all your comments. So I'm gonna solve the problem. You can pause the video if you want because I'm about to give the solution. Here, for those of you who thought the solution was to move the queen around here without capturing any pawn, that's not correct, because if we move the queen anywhere, they would promote very, very easily. Alright, so the solution is either to capture this pawn or the other one. A lot of you might say, well, I'll capture this one, that way I split the pawns into 2 islands and it's much easier. Well, no, because now they simply push here and we can't stop everything. Because if we come over here, they push over there. And now what? I come here, I come over here, and I'm definitely going to promote. So what's the correct answer? Capture this pawn right here. Is it hard to see or not? Well, some of you got it right and others didn't. But the problem isn't over yet, because now there are 3 possible solutions. If they push this one, if they push this one, and if they push this one. I'm gonna ask you again to pause the video so you can try to figure out what happens if each of the pawns is pushed. Well, start by seeing what happens if they push this pawn here. Well, the solution here is to capture this pawn, because that way we control this promotion square and also stop this possible pawn advance. So whatever they play, we'll capture the pawn. Basically, if they play this one here, we take this pawn and everything is stopped. We're left with these two. Let's see what happens if, for example, they push this pawn here. Well, here we couldn't capture it because they would promote on the next move. The correct response is to place the queen here, below the three pawns. That way, we control both possible pawn advances. If they push here, we capture here, and if they push here, we capture here. And now we've got it under control, because if they advance, we capture, and if they advance again, we capture as well. Therefore, we've also figured out what happens if they push the middle pawn. Now we just need to see what happens if they push this pawn here. Well, now the correct move is to place the queen right here, behind the two pawns. You might ask, why? Well, notice that now, for example, they can't advance here because we'd capture, they can't advance here because we'd capture, but they can't advance over here. So what do? Do we capture this one? No, because then they can promote whichever pawn they want. The correct move here is to place the queen right in the middle, stop this pawn, and now, whichever pawn they push, we capture it and have these two, well, under control. If they push this one, it's the same. We capture here and have it well under control. Did you manage to get all the queen positions right? This one was really tough, huh? This checkmate is absolutely beautiful, but it's really hard to pull off if you don't know it. I challenge you to pause the video, as always, and see if you can solve it. I'm warning you, it might take you a long time to figure it out because it's extremely difficult. It's a checkmate in just two moves. Let's start looking at all the options. If we capture here, they simply capture us back here and nothing at all has happened. This isn't checkmate. Alright, let's look at the next options. We could capture with the rook, but that seems even worse because they take us. And after the exchanges, we're left a pawn down and we lose the game immediately. So that's not the solution either. What's the idea? Move the king out of the way to bring the rook in? That takes more than two moves. If you don't want spoilers, pause the video now as I reveal the solution, and it's totally epic. Pay close attention. Rook to 6, an extraordinary move. On the next move, we'll deliver checkmate, and let's see why. Now we've limited black to only two possible moves. He can either move the bishop or capture here. He can't do anything else, either capture here or move the bishop, that's it. Let's see, he can't capture here, or not, because it would be illegal. So either he takes the rook or moves the bishop. If he moves the bishop, no matter where, it's a spectacular checkmate, because the king covers this square. And if they take our rook, checkmate comes with the pawn, thanks to the fact that this king is trapped by his own pieces. You probably didn't know about this checkmate. And even if you did, leave me a big like anyway, because we're having an awesome time here. And I've saved for last this beautiful problem, which for me is the most complicated one in the video. It's quite a difficult problem because white is about to promote. That is, if it were white's turn, they'd promote on the next move and win the game. But it's black's turn to move, and you, playing as white, have to try to win the game. Take a look. Now, if they check us, we can't shelter next to the pawn to promote because they'll just pin us, and on the next move, they'll trade the rook for the pawn, and that would be a draw. So if they give us this check, we can't go to support the pawn, we have to go up. If they keep checking us, many of you might say, yeah, well, I come over here, attack the rook, and the rook can't keep defending. Yes, but it's true that they have this move here, and if you promote, now they come and check us, and they take our queen. That means we could even lose the game. So, therefore, here, when they check us, we can't come here. But instead, we keep moving down. And now you might say, well, now for sure, now they can't come down here because they'd lose the rook. And besides, they can't stop this because, we'd capture it with the pawn. So here, we're definitely completely winning. But I'll tell you, no, not yet, because there's this brilliant move. And when the pawn is promoted to a queen, there's this check that forces white to capture, because if not, they'd capture the queen, and now the king is in a stalemate position. Incredible, but this way we don't win the game. They still have one more resource, so what should we do? We don't promote to a queen, so now what? If we go here, we're in the same spot, they come here and try to checkmate us. By checkmate, I mean give a check and capture the queen. So what if I tell you promote to a rook? Now, if they give us this check, we capture and we've won because we forced the stalemate. It would be mate on the next move. Alright, you have to keep in mind that now we're threatening checkmate on the next move. So they can't come here because we would capture them. They have to try to cover this checkmate threat. However, we're still winning with this move right here. We're threatening the rook, and on top of that, we're also threatening checkmate here at the end. So if they try to defend against the checkmate, we take the rook, and if they try to defend the rook, we deliver checkmate. I hope you all enjoyed these problems. I had a great time with all of you. So if you made it to the end, it's because you liked the video. Leave a big like. It really helps me out a lot. If you like this kind of video, you can also let me know in the comments so I can keep making some more problems from time to time and we can think a little together. And now make sure to subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next video, friends. Goodbye.